just getting the TV set up here, John.
No worries.
Yeah. Did you buy the Lightning? Oops.
Sorry?
John, if we can't get this going on this screen, I'll just ask that when you want to speak, just let me know. That way I don't have to keep cranking my head around to look at you. Oh, good, Kate, you're there too. Good. Somebody unplugged the cords to the TV for the chair. You're muted, John.
Or you could sit in somebody else's spot.
Yeah.
Well, I can also see them.
Okay, yeah. No, they can speak. Yeah. Just let us know when you want in.
Okay.
Okay. No. You need a big do not touch sign on stuff. Okay, so you're setting up the streaming now, or YouTube? Okay. We're good? Okay. John and Kate are there? Good, okay. Alrighty, so both of you can hear me all right? Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Then
Good.
we'll get started then. So Welcome everyone after our 2-month break over the summer. So this is our first coming back to work in the fall meeting. So I'll call the meeting to order. This meeting will be live streamed, recorded, and available on the internet by visiting the county's website at www.thecounty.ca. This meeting will be conducted as a virtual electronic meeting in accordance with the county's procedural bylaw. Before I ask for confirmation of the agenda, I would just like to say, welcome Councillor Hirsch to the committee and as our 5th member. And once again, welcome everybody back after the summer. So could I get a motion to confirm the agenda, please? Councillor Nyman and Councillor Grasso. All in favor? That is carried. Okay. So disclosure of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof. Does anyone have anything they wish to declare? Seeing none. First order of business is item 4.1. Call for nominations for vice chair. So.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead.
Just wondering if you could provide a little more information about what the vice chair has typically done. I know it was Crystal, and I'm just wondering how you two shared responsibilities and what the time commitment is.
Well, there wasn't a whole lot, I'll put it that way. As far as commitment for the vice chair, was basically the role as outlined, I guess, in the procedure bylaw. And Crystal and I did talk periodically, but not in great depth. She was never, the occasion never arose for her to step in as chair, so we never really experienced anything like that.
So largely it's more stepping in as chair if needed.
Sorry, I'm just asking Ben to turn the volume up a little, Kate. Okay, could you ask that again?
Yeah, so just confirming, mostly it's like the bulk of the job is being on hand in case you're needed to step in as chair. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just to let everybody know, there are two fully appointed, I guess is the best way to put it, members on the committee, and then 3 that are interim. So I think what I'd like to suggest is that somebody recommend Councillor Nyman as vice chair at this point, at least to cover that part of the procedure, if that makes sense.
Sorry, we can't hear whoever is talking right now.
Oh, that's because Ellis's mic wasn't on.
I was just asking if the chair would like to sit facing the screen so you can see you speak instead of turning around.
Yes. And I will do that. I think that's going to be better since we don't have the other television. So just give me one moment and I'll switch chairs. Okay, that's better. I can see the screen. So, where were we? Nominations for vice chair. So, I'm looking at the 4 of you to decide that.
I'll nominate Councillor Nyman, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Do I have a seconder? Okay. Councillor Nyman, do you accept? Okay. Are there any further nominations? Seeing none, then I will declare the nominations are closed.
close the nominations, Mr.
Oh,
Chair?
yes, you're right. So I need a mover and seconder that the nominations for vice chair be closed. Sam and Brad, all in favor? That is carried. Okay. So congratulations, Councillor Nyman. You are acclaimed. So that means I now need a motion, the full motion that Councillor Blank. So could I have someone read that motion, please, 4.2? Since you made the motion, Councillor Grosso.
Okay,
Mike. We're all out of practice here.
all right, practice, yeah. That Councillor Nyman be appointed Vice Chair of the Prince Edward County Affordable Housing Corporation Board pursuant to bylaw 21-2023.
Okay, all in favor? That is carried. Okay, thank you. 5.1, minutes of the Prince Edward County Affordable Housing Corporation Board meeting held on June the 9th, 2025. I have a mover and seconder for that, please. Councillor Nyman, Councillor Grosso. Everybody, I'm assuming, has read all of those previous minutes? Yes, please, if you could read the motion now.
Nyman Grosso motion that the minutes of Prince Edward County Affordable Housing Corporation Board meeting held on June 9th, 2025 be adopted as presented.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Announcements. Does anyone have anything they wish to announce? I'm not seeing anything. I know I don't. Comments from the audience? We don't have any pre-registered comments, and there's no one attending the meeting in person today, so there are no comments from the audience. So we shall move right along to agenda item 8.1, items for consideration, and we have 3 verbal updates from staff. So before I accept the motion to receive, we'll just turn the microphone over to Ellis and/or Adam as necessary. You have the
Well,
floor.
there's 3 more or less brief updates. On the Disraeli Street site, an expression of interest went out for a development partnership. We've received 1.5 submissions. We're just confirming the second registrant. And one is conventional construction, and the other is volumetric modular connection we made through CMHC. And that's basically where that's at. It closes on October 1st, so we'll take a look at the proposals between then and the board package going out prior to the October 6th meeting.
Any questions? Councillor Nyman?
I think we talked about it before, but this is based on if we can get funding from CMHC, right?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you to Vice Chair Nyman. I think we're open to any sort of model. So it very well could be private equity or some other arrangement. I think our EOIs are structured to be fairly broad in scope in terms of anything, shoot us any idea that you think could actually end up with us being able to provide more affordable housing. So it doesn't necessarily need to be tied to a CMHC funding program. It could be another funding source altogether.
A quick follow. So if a developer was there that they specialize in the affordable housing aspect of the housing, how do we reach out to them, or are they able to, how do they know that we're could be interested in that?
How would they know, through the chair, just to get clarity, how did they know how we would proceed with CMHC?
No, if there was, let's see, so I'm going to use the, not Love Song anymore, but Pinecrest, that developer there, they specialize in the affordable housing element of everything, and that's basically all they do. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering, and I'm sure there's other ones out there, but how do we how do we form partnerships with them? Like, you know what I mean?
Go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I think the plan takers are public, are they not?
Yes.
So that particular developer is one of the plan takers for this EOI.
Okay, just to clarify, I pulled up bids and tenders. Pro Model Construction Inc. and the Proposal Lab are two of the plan takers that are listed here. Bids and tenders only shows two right now.
Yeah, through the chair, we're expecting one more in addition then.
Okay, all right.
At this point. But that's certainly one of the criteria, is a history with affordable housing.
Okay, any further questions for staff on the Disraeli Street verbal update? No? Okay, then let's move along to Niles Street.
Through the chair, with Niles Street, it's a no news, good news scenario. We haven't gone any further ahead on the environmental assessment on the property, which potentially may be a moot point based on the food bank proposal. We've met with them a couple of times since the last meeting. It's gone to pre-consultation, and we met with them this past Friday to look at the site in more detail and to talk about what the partnership arrangement would be, who we would be partnering with. And we also identified that the daycare that was proposed for the property is not going to work out as part of the solution for a couple of different reasons. Most importantly, that the daycare just isn't in a position to do that at this time. It doesn't preclude some later involvement, I suppose. But in splitting the concept at this point is to split the Niles Street property east to west, so that the food bank would develop and own or potentially lease the lower half from the single-family dwelling along Niles Street to the creek, and then we would develop the property to the north, sufficient to make a pro forma for affordable housing.
Mr. Chair.
Yep.
I just want to add, thank you, Ellis, just for anyone who's listening that may not be aware of the timeline on the project, is that the food bank came to us in June, earlier this year, to one of our meetings, and made a presentation to the board about a potential partnership that could see a food bank, Storehouse Food Bank, located on our property. Now, since then, we've had these meetings, as Ellis mentioned, and based on what they think a partnership could look like, and this is where the daycare component comes from. So that's not something that we necessarily directed, or the board directed the staff to look at as part of the partnership exploration, but it is something that the group has come with, along with housing. So as we've had these conversations, their proposal is being refined, and when we expect, subject to the group being able to put something on paper, this group to come back to us at our October meeting for the board to make a decision, or potentially have more input into the plan as it develops. So no decisions have been made on what is going to happen to the property. That will rest with the board. But all to say that staff and the chair have been meeting with food bank representatives and their architect to sort of refine down what a partnership opportunity might look like.
I'll add a little, since I was at the meeting, both meetings, I guess. The most recent one was very positive. Everybody is thoughtfully looking at how can we best accommodate all of all of the needs, or the needs of both parties. And I know the discussion around the daycare. There's, as we know, the property's not that big, so it's very limiting what can be done there in order to accommodate, which our highest priority, which is the housing component, as well as the food bank's high priority, which is the food bank. So, and then I do know that representatives from the Wellington Food Bank spoke with Stacy at the hub daycare, and that's where the conversation went. Was she's not in a position. Funding is a challenge for them as much as it is anybody else. And then there's, like I say, the siting challenges that was discussed at length And in order to make our pro forma work, you're talking, we know how challenging it is on Disraeli for 12 units. So the necessity to have as many as we can get on the site to make our math work to benefit us. That was all, there was a lot of that discussion that went on, and but they're very excited, and they're running with their end of it. And as Adam said, be back to us in October with a more fleshed out plan and proposal for us to hopefully consider. And I think everybody agrees, everybody in the meeting certainly agreed that we're excited about a potential partnership with them, and how can we all benefit, and how can the community benefit from that partnership. So very positive. Look forward to seeing what they have to present in August or October. Yeah.
I ask one quick question. So I thought I heard you say funding for the daycare was a problem, but I'm just wondering, with the Pellis meeting coming up, and Pellis kind of has that funding stream, could we start asking about the funding for daycares over here? They've built new ones in Wellington, Addington. So I guess, and I know when we keep asking, they keep saying staffing's an issue. So, I understand that, but at some point, we need spaces over here too, and we need to be able to hire those people. And I think that's up to Pellis to do that, I think, but I don't know. I'm just asking that.
Through the chair, the daycare, the biggest issue is provincial funding. So assuming, you're correct, we could be advocating for more funding. That particular site is actually one of two that are potential sites for daycares in Wellington. So one way or the other, we should be advocating anyway. But the hub, I think, had made it pretty clear that they weren't looking at anything they were looking a year out to make any substantial expansion decisions.
Okay. Any questions from Councillor McNaughton or Hirsch? No? Okay. So Canada Mortgage, CMHC 8.1.3 verbal update.
Adam and I met with Pierre Gagnon, who is back in the mix at CMHC, and I think we had a pretty interesting conversation. The short version is that the funds are expended in the Affordable Housing Fund, and I'm not sure. I think the Apartment Construction Loan Program, ALCP, was also currently off the table. Yeah, he recommended that one. So if with Disraeli, or either one in particular, the ALCP, because of the funding mix involved, is much more favorable for us. But any others or grant program is expended and is being reinvented by the federal government, presumably for fall release anyway. So the ALCP is definitely what we would be looking at for both sites.
Okay. Any questions from the committee? I do have one. With regards to the ALCP and how it may apply to Niles Street, is there any suggestion of timing? And because I know it's been a priority of ours to move that as fast as we can.
Well, to the chair, if considering that the half of that site, if the food bank proposal is going to go ahead, will be cut in half, we'll be looking at a complete redesign from the original concept plan. So completely in the realm of possibilities. We're just starting over in terms of the site design.
Okay. And Disraeli?
Also,
we're going to, I'm hoping we'll move forward with application for funding. I know there's some calculations that need to be made to let the committee know at least, what our challenges are. I'm trying to think of the right word there.
And through the chair, there was a draft pro forma spreadsheet sent to CMHC for Disraeli. Yeah. So we've kind of had a little bit of a head start, but it will also depend on what development partnerships we may end up entering into.
Yeah. with the EOI still out there, okay. What was my second question? Had to do with, went right out of my mind. I'm sure it'll come to me shortly. It always does, yeah. So, okay, does anyone else have any further questions? No? Okay, wonderful. So now I need a motion to receive the verbal reports. Could I have a mover and seconder, please? Councillor Nyman, Councillor Grosso, or I'll take McNaughton as a seconder.
It's a Nyman McNaughton, you said?
Yeah.
Motion. That the updates regarding the Disraeli Street site Picton, the Niles Street site Wellington, and the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation CMHC be received.
All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And next is the staff report HC 07-2025. Over to you again, Alice.
Through the chair, this is kind of the follow the bouncing ball section of the meeting. There are 4 motions that are all part of a governance refresh that the board wanted to undertake earlier this year, early on, and it comes before you now as a result of consultation with the municipal lawyer. And we looked at all of the documents, governance documents for the organization, including the bylaws, service level agreement, and policies. So you can kind of look at this in 2 sections. One is what we need to do as a corporation, but because we're a municipal services corporation, we then have to take some of that, well, most of it, back to council in a report subsequent to our, after our next meeting. So, just walk through, there's the service level agreement, which the corporation signed originally in 2022 with the municipality before becoming a municipal services corporation next year. It has required some updating, so we did that. And I will just point to it. I don't know if you've had a chance to go through it and if you have questions, but they're essentially housekeeping changes, and everything in the document that you see that's not highlighted is the final version. So the highlighted lines refer to the corrections that were made, which are pretty minor. I don't know if you want me to refer to all of the changes.
I would just suggest that if members have a question with regards to any of the changes, after you're finishing your verbal, then we'll, then I would suggest that would be the approach.
Okay.
No sense going through them line by line. I know Councillor Nyman and I were the governance committee, and it was pretty straightforward for us, just tidying up language. But anyways, so we'll save questions for when you're done.
Thank you. So through the chair, we actually went through all of these changes at the May meeting, and we had made a decision to actually defer some items back to consultation with the municipal lawyer so that we could get a better handle, particularly on the policies, which I'll get to. So the service level agreement addresses housekeeping items, just reflect the reality in terms of the administration of the corporation from the clerk's office, for example. So that's all pretty straightforward. We also added in the bylaws we've now added 2 officers to sign in both of the sections, which are repeated in here. So the service level agreement correlates to the bylaw. So that's the one motion. The second motion is the recommendation to adopt corporate bylaw number 4, which is, well, the 4th since its inception, to more, there's actually only one change, but in so doing, we need to take that back to council, or first at a special meeting at our October 6th meeting for the mayor to essentially ratify, and then that gets taken to council. The only change in the bylaw actually is there are 2 sections that refer to signing officers, and they're worded in slightly different ways, and one of them said 1 signing officer, the other said 2, and we had previously flagged that as a bit of a confusion, and so the only bylaw change is in section 2 and 11 to have 2 signing officers, the chair and the vice chair. And to your earlier question, Kate, we've historically looked at having a councillor as chair and the vice chair being a public member. So that's where there's a perception of more transparency in having a public member in that role and having 2 signing officers. So the bylaw, that's the only change.
And I might add that previous to my assuming the role, and maybe even an interim in the previous term, then Councillor Margetson was an acting chair, and then I became the chair. But prior, any other time, it was a public member who chaired this the corporation board. So just adding a little history in there.
Oh, thank you, Chair. The first motion is to recommend the revised service level agreement be adopted for recommendation for execution by the municipality. The second is for the corporation to adopt or to recommend corporate bylaw number 4, replacing number 3, requiring the attendance of the shareholder, Mayor Ferguson. And the subsequent to that, chronologically, the Housing Corporation would present to Council a governance update that amends bylaw 2123, which is the bylaw that designated the Housing Corporation as a municipal services corporation. So that bylaw would be amended, remove the municipal corporate bylaw number 3, which is identical, and replace it with the Housing Corporation's bylaw number 4 and the service level agreement. So there are technically 2 bylaw number 3s. One is the municipalities, which was actually unnecessary because the corporate bylaw is what's required by the province. The Housing Corporation had a bylaw number 3, and if we kept both of them, that means that every time we wanted to update one or the other, the municipality wanted to update or the Housing Corporation, we would have to replace both bylaws. So rather than doing that, the corporate bylaw number 4 stands for the municipality, gets attached to the amended bylaw, and with the updated service level agreement, and then that captures the all of the requirements of the Housing Corporation and the oversight of the municipality. If that made any sense at all.
It's a whole lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
To just have everything lined up more than anything.
Yeah.
And correcting some language, and more importantly, having 2 signatures on everything as opposed to just the chair, which I think is the right thing to do. So, Councillor Nyman, and then I think Kate, did you have a question? Okay, so Councillor Nyman and then Councillor McDonald.
Just a quick one. I should have brought it up before, but it just dawned on me now. So when it's the bylaw where it's Mayor Ferguson as its representative, could we not just, because every time there's a new mayor now, you got to do a new bylaw. Is there a way we can just say the mayor of the corporation,
The head of
or the
council,
whatever
I think
it
might be
is.
the most appropriate term there.
Well, true. It could be any representative of council. The motion specifies Mayor Ferguson because he's the mayor right now, but the bylaws don't refer to him specifically, just a representative of council, right?
Yes. So do we have to name names or no? I'm just so we don't have to change a new bylaw in 4 years or, every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and thank you for raising that, because I think that was a little bit of a may have been a thought that I had after our governance meeting. So I agree with you. It's just a matter of getting the wording right, whether it's the head of council and or council designate, something like that,
Through the chair, it's only for the purposes of taking it to council this one time.
Yeah.
It doesn't name the mayor and specifically. It says a designated of council in the bylaws. So yeah, it's just for this particular point in time. Yeah, it's just well, I've already scheduled for Steve to attend, so if he can't attend, then we would have to change. The motion would have to be different, but we could, just to be on the safe side, amend it.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
It's a little technicality, but yeah, I get your point. It's
Took
when
me a second to catch on,
because we've run into that in other instances where people were named in things, and then those people are gone in the future for whatever reason. So it's best to more the title as opposed to the individual. Yeah. However, that language can be worked. Yeah. Okay. Councillor McNaughton.
Thank you. I did have a number of more specific questions, and I'll just start working through them until you're ready to move on to the next speaker. But I would start with just a clarification question. On page 20, Sarah's name is referred to and bolded. Is there anything that's missing in that? Like, does that refer to something that will be coming in the future, or is that just a note that these are Sarah's comments, or can I just get a clarification on that?
Yes, that was actually an old flag because the policy issue was one which was deferred back to Sarah. And we subsequently had a conversation in preparation of this report.
So just an old flag that hasn't
Exactly.
been.
Thank you.
That's fine. I just needed to clarify that. Thank you. I'm not, there are a couple things about the report that I'm not fully clear on in its targeting, because then it goes on to talk about the different sort of options for new approaches. There may be policy development under on page 10 under C, new policy. It refers to policy development needs specific to the corporation, not addressed by the municipality, and these are the different reasons, and then some sort of references to, or sorry, it's not that location. Where is it? Pardon me. That in conjunction with the municipal lawyer, we determined 3 scenarios going forward: standard practice, ad hoc, policy development, and new policy. So I'm not understanding where this fits in this current report and the current details that we're looking at in the changes provided. Is this the criteria? Like, is this sort of the approach that's been applied, or is this the recommendation that that we will always be adopting, or it seems to be a combination of both? It says going forward, but it also seems like there was some, like it could be capturing what we have below in the red line version of the agreement. So just another clarification on that.
Through the chair, I think it's sort of a conditional arrangement because the housing corporation is an MSC. It operates at the behest of the municipality, and we're therefore required to follow municipal procedure. So, and previously the board had used sort of policy and procedure interchangeably, which wasn't correct in the first place. But the idea would be is that all of this was in preparation for the new board recruitment later on this year. So we wanted to be clear to those new directors in particular that most of the time, if there's a policy that the municipality or a procedure that it has, then that's the one that we follow. We could change the existing one to replace
Yeah, 1, 2 or options A, B, or C.
Right. So in that way, we could sort of customize an existing procedure that was otherwise aligned with the municipality, with the housing corporation, so that we wouldn't have to go through that whole exercise ourselves. And then if there are other procedures or policies completely outside of the municipalities that we needed, that we could develop our own. Case in point, one of those mentioned at the bottom of page 10 under new policy is the digital communications procedures. So it's kind of in a gray area. I do some things, whereas we rely on the communications department to do other things. And in what case, what that is for what the county does for the housing corporation, they have a procedure, and so that gets followed. And is it a case, as me being a staff person, whether the housing corporation would want its own procedure to deal with communications and social media, for example, or just direct staff to use the municipalities? And then if there are other things.
Pretty clear. I was thinking about more the overall intent, because of the phrasing, the governance group in conjunction, et cetera, determined there were 3 scenarios going forward. I just wasn't sure if it was going forward with the task at hand or going forward into the future. And I think I understand it's going forward into the future. So applying those various screens, like what we can just implement, or adopt, what we need to change. I'm very clear, I think, now.
Were you able to get all? Were you able to get that? Yeah.
Sorry,
Were there questions outstanding, Kate?
regarding that? No, I think
Okay.
I understand. I just wanted to clarify that. Yes, I did have more. But some of it,
Okay, sir, can I just interrupt you? If you
Yeah.
can maybe in your settings, turn up your internal microphone up
it
higher.
is fully up.
Oh.
Free. I think, we've hit this scenario before, but my volume is on full. But it sounds like you can't hear. This happened before, and it ended up being the county's computer.
Yeah,
So-
it's just slightly muted, so yeah, we're having just a little bit of difficulty hearing every word.
Sorry. Well, I can try to speak really loud. Does that help?
Yeah.
Just pretend you're Italian and yell.
Or I mean,
Okay, go
that
ahead.
That works for Scottish people too, and Russian Jews. So I've got both of those covered. We can hang out, all of us cultures. So I did have a question regarding page 18, and I'll just go to there.
Could you note the section, because
Yeah, it's 621, I think.
perfect, thank you.
Hold on, I'm just getting into it myself. So that question, that phrase that was deleted in 621, any matter it deems appropriate, including the performance of the county, blah, 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 pursuant to this agreement. Why would that section be deleted? It seemed relatively useful, because that leaves a lot more flexibility for when the Affordable Housing Corporation can report to council.
Through the chair, I think, that's an error. It should just be delete what was the second stroked out line, so that any matter or issue of concern within 30 days. The reason that the older clause had been deleted is because it referred to the performance of county employees, which isn't within the purview of the housing corporation. Because
So,
We are not, the housing corporation is not the employer.
yeah, but what about the phrase "on any matter it deems appropriate"? And additionally, I would suggest that if there is work done by county staff in the realm of housing, and within the work of the Municipal Services Corporation, there could be information. I don't necessarily think reporting to council is necessarily the correct, via a specific report to council is necessarily the right avenue to talk about performance. It might be reporting to human resources, but But why would we not just strike the second half of that sentence and leave the first part on any matter it deems appropriate, period? Because there are going to be situations that the Housing Corporation may want to report to council on, excluding performance.
Well, I would think, yeah, I get what you're saying, but I guess for me, it's, when I looked at it, I thought, you know, the corporation has a right, as it always does, to report to council on whatever it chooses to. So I don't know if it's necessary to even have it specific there. It's kind of like stating a fact.
Where's that right enshrined?
Pardon me?
Where's that right enshrined?
No, I don't think it has to be enshrined. It's just if this board decides it wants to report to council on something, then the board has the right to.
That's why I would suggest leaving in on any matter it deems appropriate. That phrase seems useful to me and provides and is clear, and it says there's a codified right to report to council. Excluding it means it looks like the only sort of shall report to council relates to any matter, issue, or concern regarding a request from council. So I kind of think striking the entire line, I mean, it might not make a difference because in practice things are a lot more fluid, but I just don't understand why you would strike the entire phrase or instead of just the latter portion, because there is a restriction inherent in 6.21a. There's an implied restriction whether it's intended or not. So I would propose retaining on any matter it deems appropriate.
Define it, please. Does that mean council or the corporation?
No, corporation.
Because the 6.21 refers to PCAC shall report to council on any matter, issue, or concern within 30 days of receiving a request from council.
Yes.
That's why I want
or
to
on
know, does it mean us or does it mean council?
Well, I mean, that should have been clarified in the language, but I would read it as any matter it deems appropriate, it being referring to the Affordable Housing Corporation. I think that was the intent of the writing.
I'm just going to let Alice jump in here.
Through the chair to everyone, but particularly Councillor McNaughton. So 6.20 above, we could just add a sentence to say that the board may present to council any matter that it deems appropriate, because there are really two sections here. One is what the board shall do that, and then both of them refer to the board shall to council, but we can add that one I would recommend a third one.
Strike only including the performance of county employees pursuant to this agreement.
So it would have to be 6.22 as a separate item, because that's talking about a decision of the board to make a presentation to council as opposed to what council would expect or demand from the Housing Corporation.
I think it's worth noting just so it doesn't seem exclusive. So wherever it goes.
I think we can just.
I'll add that as 6.22.
Okay.
If the board is comfortable with that, I can just add that, and then it can be executed, and the chair will be signing this document.
Once it's approved, yeah.
You might want to do it as 6.220A so that you don't have to renumber subsequent clauses.
Okay. Councillor Nyman.
So what's the purpose of this then? I'm just trying to figure it out, because I guess what we don't want is to have so much verbiage in that people don't, it becomes irrelevant, right? So,
yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out, do we really need it there, or is it something that is standard practice. So that's kind of,
May I speak to
I'm going to
that?
get staff to answer that.
Sorry, Mr. I just want to chime in, just following this conversation. I like to keep things simple, and I think there really should be a mechanism for the housing corporation to go to council for different things. And I'm personally wondering, maybe, and maybe the board can chime in, but what's wrong with keeping it, as Councilor McNaughton suggests, is the first part of that. It provides a mechanism for the board to go to council on issues that are of concern, or of well, anything that they deem appropriate. I'm not following the conversation of why what the argument is to remove it.
I think it's pretty simple the way it is, if you just strike the bit of the section you don't like.
Through the chair, I think for the recruitment of new public members, if there isn't anything that I can think of at the moment that specifically says that if there's something outside of the annual report that the board may want to present to council, that it doesn't explicitly say that. And I'm not sure that it needs to, but if that would be the place to put it, and then that way it's kind of enshrined in the service level agreement that it can be there. But if it says the board may, then that means that has to be a board decision, right? So the board would have to vote and say, yes, as a collective, we want to make that presentation to council. So you couldn't have someone just willy-nilly saying, we want to present on X issue to council. I think that would be a fair compromise.
Okay, so what words are we going to use, and which section are they going to be inserted into? So that we're all clear. What would you recommend?
Through the chair, I think just adding that sentence at the end of 6.20, because it talks about from the Housing Corporation to council, that the board may present to council on any matter it deems appropriate.
Does that clarify things, Councillor McNaughton?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good. All right, you said you had a list, so I'm gonna go back to you and see what else you've got.
Okay, so let me go to. I am wondering. Now, this is maybe jumping too far into the future on page 13 in the definition.
Please state the section numbers. My numbering, it might be different than yours.
So on page 13 of the agenda, which is,
SLAs.
and it is under definitions. And this is possibly jumping too far ahead. We don't have a director of housing right now. This only refers to the deletion of executive. Great, no problem with that. Should we, because we don't specifically, I guess we have a CAO involved, but if we look to restructure the relationship between the staff appointees, you know what? Never mind. I'm just going to leave this because I am jumping too far in the future. So I will leave it for now and take this up with staff down the road. Never mind.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Are any other questions with regards to these motions or any possible suggested changes? Okay, then need a seconder, Councillor Grossos. Okay, if you could read that. So that's just direction, and that the changes that we were just discussing will be incorporated, right? Or should this be as amended? I want to make sure we get the language in the motion correct.
Probably fair clarification. Through the chair, I think if the board is satisfied with the direction given to staff, then, and Ellis is satisfied, we can proceed with the amendments incorporated.
Okay. These motions will be coming to council, or, right? Because we need council to approve the USLA as amended, as well as the, well, as you're recommending in the motion. So that's why I want to make sure we have the language correct here to simplify things later. Okay.
Through the chair, correct. And I just wanted to add, for clarification purposes, that the board policy manual, you saw the list before of the municipal procedures, so that will get confirmed, and then all of this will end up in a policy, well, board director manual. But yes, essentially the last motion, or the second to last motion, refers to the Housing Corporation presenting to council what we've just accomplished.
Okay. All right. So go ahead, Councillor Nyman. As is. Yeah.
Thank you. And who's the seconder?
Councillor Grosso.
All right, thank you. Nyman Grosso, motion that staff report HC 07-2025 be received, that the revised service level agreement be adopted for a recommendation for execution by the municipality, that a special meeting be held to adopt corporate bylaw number 4, replacing number 3, requiring attendance of the shareholder Mayor Ferguson as its representative, that the Housing Corporation present to council a governance update report recommending amending bylaw 21-2023, designating the HAC as a municipal services corporation, rescinding the municipality's housing corporation bylaw number 3 with affordable housing corporation's bylaw number 4 attaching the revised service level agreement for execution, that the board directs staff to create a board policy manual consisting of the applicable municipal policies.
Okay. I'll call the motion. All in favor? And that is carried. Wonderful. And so now 8.3, appointment of authorized representative to the Canada Revenue Agency. And I know this is just standard procedure. Previously, it was our previous Director of Finance and IT, Amanda Carter, and now that there's a new person in the role, Director Aaron McNichol, it's formalizing the change of individuals in that position. That's my understanding. That's correct?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So this is, if I could get a mover and seconder to make this change of appointment, Councillor McNaughton and Councillor Hirsch.
Thank you. This is I'll yell. This is the McNaughton-Hirsch motion that the Prince Edward County Affordable Housing Corporation Board authorizes Aaron McNichol, Director of Finance and IT for the county, to act as a representative for the Canada Revenue Agency.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor? That's carried. 8.4, board recruitment. Is there anything that staff wish? Yeah, you got your mic on already. Okay.
Sorry.
So go ahead, Alice.
And thank you for bearing with that whole governance refresh since last April and May. So having done all of that, we're now on track to, with our business plan, to pursue recruitment of our public members, which we'll be doing in conjunction with the clerk's office. But just need a motion to make that happen.
Okay. And this is the part that we've all been waiting for, to get us to the point where we can start filling our board seats, getting our board fleshed out with members of the public who have excellent skills and life experiences that can help us to move this particular matter forward. So, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Director.
Mr. Chair, just perhaps we can ask Ellis to just explain a little more about how this will work, who will make the decision, maybe some timelines. We just will want to drum up some support from the public. They might be listening to this or might come back to this and to do the research on us, and might be good for anyone who's interested in maybe listening to us know what the process might look like for them.
Well, and hopefully the local media picks up on this outreach that is about to happen for this very important social subject matter in our community. So go ahead, Alice.
Thank you. Through the chair, the bylaws actually set out the types of expertise that we're looking for, whether that's legal, land use planning, and so on. So just like we did last round in late 2023, there'll be a joint committees and housing corporation recruitment campaign, and we'll be soliciting members through clerks at pecounty.on.ca, and we'll be using a slightly amended ranking form for the applications that come forward based on the areas of expertise our bylaws dictate. And so we'll need a nominating committee, perhaps at the October meeting, to review those applicants. And then we would presumably, between budget and the holidays, be having people start the beginning of January, at our first meeting in January.
Good. That gives the public lots of time to consider whether they want to, if they choose to apply, and that this is the appointments will be a decision of the Housing Corporation, not the nominating committee of council. Okay, I think everybody should understand this. Any questions before actually, I need a mover and seconder, I guess, before. Mover and seconder, please. Which would be 8.4, yes, to begin the board recruitment process. So, Councillor Grosso, Councillor McNaughton.
Sorry, it's a Grosso McNaughton motion. This is a Grosso McNaughton motion that the Prince Edward County Affordable Housing Corporation Board direct staff to commence recruitment for directors pursuant to the board recruitment procedure in conjunction with the clerk's office.
Okay. I think we're all clear on that. So, all in favor? That is carried. Wonderful. Yes. Looking forward to moving that process forward. So now we are at agenda item 8.5, the action tracker. Ellis, back to you. The director's not saying much, but supervisor is certainly all over this.
Well, if in the evolution of the action tracker, we finally decided to take off everything that has been completed. I did leave one item on, but so starting in the October meeting, I think all of the governance items will be off the table. And the timelines that are mentioned in the far right come from the business plan that the board approved in January 2025, I want to say. So they're there, even though they're well into the future, are there just so that we can keep our eye on the ball. And it's divided into the various sections. But essentially, we're more or less on track with our future goals. There's one item that, there's a development goal in terms of the EOWC is stroked through only because it wasn't our intention, but EOWC's to sort of abandon that regional developer recruitment process. So that is off the table. But otherwise, everything is there, and I'll remove anything that's completed.
Okay.
There it is.
Does anyone have any questions regarding the action tracker? No? Pretty straightforward. Then could I get a motion that regarding mover and seconder that the updated action tracker be received? Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Hirsch, Councillor Nyman.
That the Hirsch-Nyman motion that the updated action tracker be received.
All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, here we are. Next meeting, October the 6th. And as Alice had mentioned, we anticipate the Wellington Storehouse Food Bank representatives to come and speak to us. And hopefully we can keep moving forward on with good progress on that file. Ellis, go ahead.
We'll be having a annual general meeting, an open meeting, and a closed meeting in that entire timeframe.
Yes. Okay. All right. So, and I'm surprised how quickly we worked through this. I think this is very good. There was a fair bit of meat here, a fair bit of catching up to do. So I guess we'll get into the grind of it on October the 6th. So ask for a motion to adjourn, please. Mover and seconder, Councillor Grosso, Councillor Nyman.
This is a Grosso-Nyman motion that the meeting of the Prince Edward County Affordable Housing Corporation Board now adjourn at 2:05 p.m.
Okay. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you very much, everyone. Meeting is now adjourned. Lovely. Lovely. That's